afternoon, everybody. I hope to share this afternoon a little bit of my observations about the AR marketplace. Been doing this for quite a while. And in that, I'm actually going to show you some new ideas of what you might be able to use with some of the things that I'm going to be showing you. So I know you've all seen this before, Crossing the Chasm. You know, it's out there on many forms. I think it's in its 3rd edition right now. But all companies go through this path where we're out there pushing new products into the marketplace. And at some point in time, we start to stall. And we start to stall because we haven't maybe taken care of some of the things that were necessary to get over that chasm and to get into a place where we can get large market acceptance of the product. As an example, Google in 2012 made a push into the marketplace with Google Glass. Unfortunately, the infrastructure wasn't there to support growth into the marketplace. So customers got Google Glass. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Customers got Google Glass, and they said, what do I do with this thing? On the other hand, you take a look at the industry guys, the enterprise guys, and they took a look at the product and they went, geez, you know, I can be more efficient with this. I can be more effective in my job. I can save money. And let's build the infrastructure to get over that chasm and move into a place where we can roll this out to the whole company. Unfortunately, that part takes a long time. And you'll see that when you meet some of the people here that are showing you exactly what they've done in their organizations. But this is nothing new. You know, new markets always tend to be fragmented. In a sense, it's technology that's always looking for a home. And at some point in time, when you're moving down this path of looking at the technology and what you can do for it and what you can do with it, and you're meeting new customers and things, you realize, wow, there's a lot of potential uses here. And one of the things you learn there is that, gee, maybe my hardware, maybe there's not a one-size-fits-all type of solution. And more importantly, change is involved. For those of us who are consumers, that change may be something as simple as, oh, gee, I got to put on a pair of glasses now, and I really don't like the way the glasses look on me, but I'll make the change because this is unique and gives me some added benefit. On the enterprise side, it becomes much more complicated. It takes years to adapt that technology into the enterprise space and roll it out to all workers. And that infrastructure, that ecosystem has to be built in a way that's effective and works 100% all the time. So last year, and I'm going to preface this by saying, this video that I'm going to show you right now is actually a video that I took for AWE in China last year in May. So the greeting is in Chinese. But listen to the video for a second, and then I'm going to come back and look at what this is.
I'm here on the streets of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, asking people if they know what augmented and virtual reality is. Do you know what augmented reality is?
No clue.
Do you know what virtual reality is?
Yes.
No, I don't.
Do you know what virtual reality is?
Isn't that like the video game, like you're in like virtual reality, like not real life?
No.
Do you know what virtual reality is?
Yeah.
No.
Do you know what virtual reality
Yes.
Oh, but no, I can't. You guess. Do you know what virtual reality is?
Yes.
Can you describe it?
My idea of virtual reality is perhaps I don't want to tell you what my idea of virtual reality is. I'm having a virtual reality relationship right now. Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So you know, here we are, the young lady and myself. We're on the street, and we're just asking anybody that walks up to us, what's going on, and do you know these things? And this lady, this younger woman says to me, says to the group that I'm having this virtual reality relationship. And I said, can you expand upon that a little bit? I want to know what a virtual reality relationship's like, but she wouldn't. So anyways, so it was interesting. The point here is that last year, virtually no one knew what augmented reality was. Everybody knew what virtual reality was, but they knew of it only in the sense that it worked with some games. Now, we as technologists, and we live in high-tech areas like the Silicon Valley here, we all are familiar with these terms and everything, but the rest of America and the rest of the world is not. And that's one of the things that you need to think about when you start looking at products and how you're going to cross that chasm and get those people to actually start thinking about your product. But you know what? Shortly after this, something else changed in the world. So in July of last year, all of a sudden this thing called Pokemon appeared, and everybody in the world all of a sudden said, oh, wow, I got to do this. I mean, my kids were out there on the streets just like with everybody else doing it too. The interesting thing here is we then went back a few weeks ago and we wanted to see how that translated into this year. So a few weeks ago, we went back to the streets again, and I'm not going to show a video here, but we went out in the streets again and we said, hey, do you know what AR is? And people went, no. Do you know what VR is? And a lot more people knew what VR was. Oh yeah, you can do all these sort of things. I can go buy this headset at the mall and everything. So people had a better understanding what VR was. But they still had no real understanding what AR was. Now these are common, everyday people. The interesting thing was when I said, do you know what Pokemon is? And they go, absolutely, that's that game that gives me this cute little character that appears out of nowhere. And I said, do you know that's called augmented reality and it does all sorts of neat things? And they go, really? Oh, that's cool technology. And then I said, do you know what Iron Man is? And they go, Iron Man, yeah, that's that futuristic thing where all this data appears here and I can do all sorts of things. And then when you actually tell them that Iron Man and Pokemon are the same technologies, their mouths sort of hang there and they go, what do you mean? And you tell them that's available now, and they don't comprehend it at first. So what that says, though, to us is that we as technologists have a disconnect with the rest of the marketplace. And that's why we're not getting over that hump yet. We have a disconnect because we think about technology. We don't think about use models, which is what everybody else thinks about. I'm thinking about the game I want to use. I'm thinking about my enterprise and what my internal customer has to do. So customers think the technology is intriguing. They take a look at their smartphones, tablets, the marketing things that they see going on out there, the games and everything, maybe even the sports-specific headsets. But the enterprise guys thinks about this technology as a tool. They know it's a way to save money, to be more efficient, to be more effective in doing their job, and to increase that bottom line. And more importantly, what we're seeing now today is that these customers, the enterprise customers, are actually turning that into a revenue-generating machine. So a couple case in points. I'll get back to the Pokemon thing, and I know Niantic is out speaking here at the conference this week, so it'll be interesting to see what their numbers are. But as of September of last year, first day revenues, $3.9 to $4.9 million on the first day. 19 days to exceed 50 million users, 20 million users per day, 26 minutes average playing time, and revenues estimate to be $10 million a day. Wow. Talk about a business model, right? And then an update from DigiCapital says that $600 million was generated in the first 3 months of Pokemon. Substantial business. So major step forward in consumer recognition of what is the question? Is it consumer recognition of AR, or is it consumer recognition of the end use model? And I would argue that's the end use model, and we as technologists need to make that crossing so that people understand what the technology is. Certainly it was dollars for Niantic. Lowe's Innovation Lab. If you're like me, I go to Lowe's all the time, homeowner, I gotta go out there and I gotta find something to fix whatever it is that I'm working on. Lots of times I end up wandering the aisles. If I had a way of shortening my decision-making, understanding the different things there and the applications for those, I can get to the cash register much faster. And that's one of the things that Lowe's is doing. We actually had permission from Lowe's to interview a bunch of people. I didn't show that video here because of the time allotted, but if you're interested, I'll be happy to talk to you about that afterwards. So what we can see is that in 2016, DigiCapital originally forecasted the market at $600 million. There was a bump from Pokemon of $600 million, so that put the market revenue last year of $1.2 billion, but soft revenue. By that I mean no hardware. Analysts out there, I'd love to see a report from you that says how many AR headsets are sold in any given year and what the forecast for that is. I haven't seen that yet. But what we've learned from everything that I've showed you today and what we learned from the people that we're talking with is that there's certain things that make AR attractive and will help us get over the hump. Those things are active human participation in whatever we do. People don't buy technology. Apple taught us that. People buy for personal reasons. People buy because it makes their life better, and that includes people in the enterprise. They buy because their job is going to get done faster, and it's going to save them a lot of steps into work. You also have to engage those people on a physical, emotional, and mental level. And then you have to design for sharing. And in the consumer world, yeah, that's social networking and in all the various forms that exist in that. In the enterprise world, that's organizational sharing and all the things that go along with that. So additionally, there must be an ecosystem. You know, we see a lot of different hardware, software, and application building blocks which are independent of one another, and those things have to come together. And you're already starting to see collaboration and consolidation in the marketplace, and that's going to go on. I said this 3 years ago at a talk, and it's continuing today, that this consolidation is taking place now, and people are realizing that the ecosystem and the use models are key in order to grow the business. And you need to start thinking about out-of-the-box ways of making that happen in order to get there. So you're going to see a lot of the bridge builders today, Boeing, Bosch, Audi, Walmart, they're all here. And they're going to be talking to you about the ecosystems that they have built, the complete front to back end systems that drive to a certain common goal of getting the job done. So take time and make sure you talk to every one of these people during the next couple of days. So I told you I was going to talk to you about some new things to help you get your superpowers up. Well, having been in this business a while, we decided that we needed to go after a different marketplace in order to create pull for AR. It wasn't good enough that we just add another product out there and say, hey, we got an AR product, and people go, what am I going to use this for? So we focused early on the on-demand imagery marketplace. Most people don't know that the action camera market is growing rapidly, 10 to 12 million new cameras a year, 40 million in use. And if you look at drones, over 3 million installed on drones, and again, 1.5 million growing yearly. What's interesting about this is that every camera manufacturer, including all the cell phone companies, are trying to put better low-light cameras in their phones. Why are they trying to do that? Because they know that there's another 12 hours to the day versus just the daytime, and that people are trying to do things at night. So we've taken a new technology, and we've created a way of leapfrogging those low-light cameras and giving you true night vision on an ecosystem of product that are all AR-capable platforms within that ecosystem. The first one that we have over on the left here is a handheld unit, works with your cell phone. It gives you that streaming, that live streaming, that chat, that sharing, all those things you want to do socially, whether it's for an enterprise or whether it's for consumers. Additionally, we also added in to that whole ecosystem a wearable device. But having built headsets for a long time, we knew there were some key elements to make headsets so that people will wear them and use them for hours upon end. Wearability was one. It had to be comfortable. You had to be able to put it on. You had to be able to stand wearing that for a long time. The second one was the optical system. We needed an optical system that you could put it on your head, whether you were a kid, a teenager, or an adult, and see everything, so it filled your complete vision. And it was comfortable in doing that to your eyes. And the third aspect was near zero latency. Now, everybody will always say, latency, there's always some latency. You're right, we're in the microseconds. So when you move your head from side to side, if you're doing something like riding a bicycle in the dark with your night vision gear on, you're not going to see any lag in the video whatsoever. So you might sit there and say, as other people have to me, night vision, we never thought of that before. Well, I want you to think about one number. 1.32 billion mobile workers in the marketplace. More than half of them have to do their jobs at night, whether you're a construction worker, a utilities worker. So the market is huge. There are 5 million people riding bicycles with flashlights down mountaintops at night. Ski areas all over, 54 million skiers in the US, and the skiers are now opening up their slopes without lights on, giving you helmets with flashlights that you can rent and go skiing in the dark. So the market is actually quite huge. And we focused on a use model, not AR, but a use model. So when I add AR to this, when I show them AR, they'll just go, wow, that's a great addition. Oh, let's go out and go party. Let's go out and ride our bikes. We took the press ziplining down a 4,200-foot mountain at CES, and they loved it using the technology. So I'll leave you with one last video just to give you an idea of what it looks like. This is night vision. I'm on a boat. We're filming out in the harbor. And since a lot of marine equipment nowadays has Wi-Fi built in, the radar information actually appears on the headset, and you're able to see in the dark as well as see the computer-generated content.
Your waters since I was 3 feet tall. You've seen it all. You've seen it all. Watch the man.
Yes, that was, I had the headset recording one, and I had my cell phone recording the other, and you can see the complete difference in what's going on. So think about all the different activities you do and tell me if that's not something that you would like to see or have in your toolkit, whatever adventure activity that you happen to be doing. So in summary, what I like to say here is we need to start thinking out of the box. We need to start bridging the gap, not only between what we're doing internally with our technology, but bridging the gap to our actual end customers, speaking to them in terms of how they're going to use the product instead of it's called AR, and beating them over the head to understand what AR is. And then you'll find that the bridges that gets to mass market acceptance is going to be dramatic, and it's going to be rapid. And all the things that we've been doing for all these years will all of a sudden help us all take off. Thank you very much.